very good evening, friend, and in this video I'm just going to program small tiny project, you can say. Let's see how many lines of code. I want to bank it on inheritance, and I will take the example of just try to emulate a banking system. You constructor bank, and then I'm passing the name. So the first name, because it's a default constructor, so the strcpy name and \0, so it means the name will contain a null value initially. Then I'll do the same thing for the address and mobile. So the name is null, address is null, and this is my default constructor, means a dummy candidate, you can say. So addr and then mobile and all. Then I'll make the parameterized constructor where I'll pass the actual name, address and the mobile of the user. So I just copy it and paste it. So I remove this unwanted things because I started now here. Then you have to pass, I have to pass three pointers, one for name, one for address and one for mobile. And then I will use char asterisk nm. Nm is shorthand, you can say I can relate them is name, and then the char asterisk adr, and then char asterisk mb. So now nm will be copied into nm will be copied into name, adr, adr will be copied into address, nm will be copied into name, and mb will be copied into mobile. So yes, so it has as a class with the two default constructor, not two default, one default and one parameterized, two constructor, you can say. And this two constructor with the different parameter list, this is called constructor overloading, which I have already discussed. So now I need to make some mechanism to display them also. So show function, and I'll define it outside the body of this one, because inside the class will become an inline function, and the inline functions are too weak function. So here I go and try to define void bank scope resolution operator ;, and show the name of the function. And then I will simply see out. So see out first is actually, now let me work something with the designing part, because in C and C++ both, this output window looks so horrible and disgusting that you don't feel like doing. These days modern GUIs are there, but C and C++ in it's still these compilers offer you in its traditional form, so you have to work everything. I live in Mumbai, friends, and I have seen that Mumbai LIC and Indian Railway and LIC, these two only have seen, they still use C, because now cost effective they are compilers, so they are very good. Mumbai Railway still uses its GUI, not GUI, it's interface where they book the local ticket, and they are all running with the C, and there is a database also connected, SQL database. It is quite effective because it just is damn too quick. So it is capable. Now the question, what happens most of the time, that we go for what is in demand, because most of the people are the job seekers and they just try to make themselves job ready, and they just keep on lurking from here to there just to order to find out whoever they say that this programming language. I remember in our time when the Java came at the platform, then it became a hot cake, and the universities, schools, colleges, everyone started using Java. And Java was going very good with the Microsoft initially, but later they had some disagreement over the Copyright Act, because the Java Microsoft was using Java as the third party software, and Microsoft started making another software or another application language, and which was truly like Java, and that is the C Sharp. So if you just go and see the structure of C Sharp, it is a copied version of Java. So there was a huge legal dispute between the Microsoft and the Sun Microsystem, and after this Microsoft had to pay millions of dollars as compensation to the Sun Microsystem, and then Microsoft operating system started discarding the discouraging the use of the Java applications. So when we used to write the Java applets or the Swing based applications, and when you try to install them on the Windows platform, then the Windows operating system flash out and treat them as a viruses, and we had a lot of struggle to convince the customers that it is not a virus, because that if the operating system says that the software is this particular software is harmful for your machine, and then do you want to go yes or no, then the people used to get scared, because the machines were initially pretty costly. So still, this is how it happens. We job seekers have to struggle, and they have to learn many languages, because you do not know for which skill you may get the job. That is the problem with the learners, particularly for the job seekers. And here in India, we find the difficulties mostly because our system, our government is not very conducive. For everything we have to dependent on the laptop from HP, Dell, the hardware, software, everything we copy from others. For everything we are dependent on other. I mean, this is a very poor state of I'm pretty sure that everyone will agree, because this is very discouraging environment here for the creators, because we have to compete. Like right now, if you see that the GoDaddy is here, so if you want to open a website designing business, then the Google is also making free websites. Oracle is making free website, and GoDaddy is making free website. And if you want to I mean to say that you have very little support here, and you have to compete with the champions of their respective field. So if you want to design work with the search engine, then you have to compete with Google. If you want to think about the this is just like a person who doesn't know how to run properly, and when you grow up and you try to start your running race, then you have to compete with the Olympic champions or the experienced person, then you will become hugely discouraged. This is what is happening here. That's why the people think, instead of taking risks, just go and become part of those big ships. So we go for jobs. Now you see that many people have learned C, C++, Java, Python, C Sharp, Visual Basic .NET, ASP.NET, this .NET, that .NET, and you do not know. When you go there, they ask you whether you know JavaScript, whether you know this. So it is just too confusing and too chaotic, because you do not know which skill will help you get the job. So this is now ready. In the meantime, the display, it was just a boring part. That's why I gave a boring lecture also. I hope my experience matters, friends. That's why I say it, because most of you might have been facing the similar situations. So this is important to know that where the fate of the country or fate of the humanity is going, because you are working not for time pass, you are working so that you can be appreciated somewhere, you can find a job somewhere. Time consuming, wastage, not wastage, time consuming only, because if you make a beautiful applications, uh, 20 years back I had seen one application where used a database based C applications for quizzing. It was just best for quizzing. It was so beautifully designed. A lot of graphics.h was used there, and it was so awesome. Black and white screen actually, but it had power. So still it has the same power, but we find that we have moved to some other lucrative way of field. Now I'm just trying to create, so that function is defined, is displaying things. Now I create another class whose name is fd, and this class is inheriting the bank class into public mode. So later I can change the name also, but I'll explain you why I'm changing. Right now my class is fd, and this class is inheriting the bank class in public mode of inheritance, and it has one double value principal, and the fixed deposit, it's a time bound interest system. And then however, you do not need to enter the rate, only you need to put your money, and you have to tell that for how many years you are making the fixed deposit, because this is a term plan kind of. And then rate of interest is fixed, and these days so banks have a lot of power, so they make a variable rules, they can change the rules anytime. So now here, this is the default constructors where the principal, rate, number of years and amount all are 0. So I have made 4 variables, one for double, p and r, and then I just copy the constructors where it will be receiving. Yes, so now it will receive the 3 values, principal, rate and time. And principal int 10. If you want to keep the time fixed also, you can do. There are mechanisms in the C++ where you can keep the row rate fixed, and then you have to pass only 2 values. Because okay, so now here I'm passing okay, I'm making x, y, z, because a lot of variables are there in different names. So the first value will be principal, n will be integers, so that is y, and r will be z, and this amt will be 0 is fine. If it is not, it's not required also, because this is not initialized with the help of parameter, it will be initialized with the help of the calculation of this function. So I have a function called cal, and this return type is also value. So what I'm intending is that I feel like I'll be designing my cal function in such a way that after receiving those informations, it will calculate the final amount of the fixed deposit, and that initialize the amount value. So amount value will contain the maturity value of your fixed deposit. So I'll be using the compound interest for that. So I'll write double I don't need this one, amt is already there. I can include a math.h because I'm going to use some math function. So here it goes, amt equal p into power function, and the power function POW, and this is in the part of the header file math.h, so I have to include that also. P bracket and then 1 plus r by 100, 1 plus r, 1 plus r by 100, and then index will be n. So 1 plus r by 100 bracket close comma, because power function take 2 value, one is base, other is index. So this 1 plus r by 100 is base and n is its index. Now you see it's all calculated. So now the task is to show the function. Now the show function is already present inside this bank system. That's why I need to make some changes, or this condition when you are using a function which have been defined already in the superclass. This is called method overriding. So because both the functions have the same name, and when you are calling them, then it will be very difficult for the compiler to distinguish that which function you are calling, because in inheritance this class also has acquired the property of this. Means the FD class have acquired the property. So property means the functions only, because the class is nothing but collections of the variables and the functions. So what you are acquiring, the variables, and the variables generally we are making all private. So it means the private things cannot be inherited, because the private component of a class cannot be inherited. So what I'm inheriting? I'm inheriting the public part of the functions. When you are inheriting using the public mode, so the public part of the superclass become the public part of the subclass. Understood? So okay, this is the part 1 of the video. In the next part I will just use that, because it's becoming unnecessarily very longer, because already, yes, this is all 20 minutes. People find boring to use, so I just want to make it short video. So FD. Okay, so what is happening that because right now when your FD class is the subclass, means you will be creating the object of the SD class. So when you will be creating the object of the SD class, and when you will invoke the object of the SD class, at the same time you need to pass, or you need to make sure that the corresponding constructor of the bank class also gets initialized. So this is how we are linking these two. So it means I have to pass parameters for the 3 parameters: the name, address, and the mobile for the bank class. And the FD class will also have the 3 1 double, 1 int, and 1 double. So it means 3 for this and 3 for, so 6 variables we need. One is for the name, one for address, one for mobile, one for the principal amount which you are putting in, that is double value, double PP for principal, and then RR for rate, because only these two are double, and the time, or the time is integer, int n. And then we receive the data from the user. Okay, so enter name, cin, or better I use getS, because normally the real life names have the 2 3 first name, middle name, surname. So after spaces cout will not receive. So enter address. Again this is getS, address, and that is ADR. And then enter mobile, then you enter, that is also C in here, because there is no space between mobile phone. You can use C in here, because mobile phones are just a group of characters without any space. But I have used getS also. Fine. So these are the tiny things, everything you need to know what we are doing, why we are doing, because in the huge application, because when you start selling the software, then no one is just everyone will kick your ass if you not make it a strong software, because in software industry it is says that the deliver what you have promised. So you need to know what you have promised. That's why don't promise more which you don't promise something which you cannot deliver. But hardly people pay attention. That's why the software companies lose their credits, they lose their value, lose their credibility. Means there is a plenty of ways by which you can be failed. Now here also in the real life also application, see, if there is single mistake the application will not run. So now here I have received the name, address, mobile, amount, rate, and the terms, that is time, and then I'll create the object for this FD. So the FD, okay, FD, FD. So small FD is the object and capital FD is the name of the class. Then I'll pass all these: name, address, mobile, principal, rate, time. And then so the constructor have been invoked. Three value will go to the first three will go to the bank constructor parameterized constructor of the bank, and the last three will go to the parameterized constructor of this class. And then with the help of fd.cal this amount will be created, and fd.show it will just display the result. Now fd is unknown or 0. Yes, here it should be double colon. Okay, so now let's see how it works. Oh my god, 5 errors. The POW function should have a prototype, means I have to include the math.h. Here I go and I include math.h, hash include math.h, math.h. Now let's see whether I get further errors or it's just the flawless. Okay, 4 errors. What are they? Undefined symbol name. Okay, here NAM. It should be NO. No, not there. Yeah, so this should be get as NAM only. NAM, ADR is fine, and the time it should be NN because you have declared. Yeah, I have declared it as NN. So MB, 2 errors gone, 1 is for NN. So NN, hopefully 2 errors. Undefined function name. Okay, so here also I have to make it NAM only. Yes. And then come on, we are very close to the completion and we are reaching the end of the video. Let's see whether we get so I enter the name Anindya Chatterjee, and then address 21 Russell Street, mobile 704560827, amount 12,000, rate right now I'm entering, but you can make it fixed also because user doesn't decide the rate. So now it's working fine. Thank you friend, and keep watching our next video also and practice this with us, then only you can master the idea. Thank you very much.